What's going on, guys? Graham GSM Matthews here, Graham Armina with WhatCulture. Today we're talking with Uli of Young Rock fame, playing Dwayne Johnson in his college years. Uli, how are you doing, man?
Good, my man. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for taking the time today. I appreciate it.
No problem.
So, Young Rock's been out now on NBC every Tuesday night for the last couple of weeks. What's the feedback been for you like so far?
It's been incredible, man. It's been, we came in at the top in this time slot, which is phenomenal for me. I'm from Australia, so
Yeah.
kind of understanding what that means is took me a little bit, but it's been great. You know, it's really nostalgic for a lot of people. People are really enjoying it. So, and there's so much more to come. So I've been looking forward to it.
Have you had a chance to watch the episodes before they air on Tuesday nights? And when they air on Tuesdays, what time would that be for you?
No, I haven't seen anything, which is great.
Oh, man.
Great
Okay.
for me. Yeah. So it's about 11 o'clock in the morning for us here,
Mhm.
at least when it airs Eastern time. And I haven't read any of the scripts that I wasn't involved in. We were just given the ones that obviously that we're in. So it's been a really great surprise and really fun just kind of watching the other guys do their thing. It's really fun.
It's cool. Yeah. So you were involved in the premiere episode 2 weeks ago. We've had two episodes since then. We
Right.
got, will you be on next week's episode? Do you know which next episode you'll be on exactly?
I think that's the case. So as far as I'm aware, or on the 16th, I think.
16. Okay.
Um, and I'm pretty sure that's the fanny pack scene.
Oh, Fanny Pack. So how was it like filming that one?
Oh, it was incredible. It was so great. You know, like I came out of my trailer with the fanny pack and the chain and the turtleneck, and you know, cast and crew were just kind of like, it's happening. This is it.
Yeah.
But I've been saying that probably the best thing about it is we get some context to the photo, which is really going to be really enjoyable for people. So
No, I was
yeah,
gonna say that's probably one of the most famous Dwayne Johnson photos out there is the
yeah,
fanny
sure.
pack picture, so it's gonna be cool to see that recreated on the 16th. When you find out you're in the show, what's your family's reaction? What's your friends' reaction to saying, "Hey, I'm gonna be"? I mean, obviously you've had a pretty illustrious career up to this point, but working with Dwayne Johnson, I mean, what's that reaction been like among your peers and your family and friends?
Yeah, it was bananas. My I was with my wife when I got the call from my agent, and we just kind of it was quite a lengthy process. I did two auditions here in Australia, then flew over to Los Angeles, then came back and had another. And by the end of it, we got the phone call and we just kind of sat down and relief. But my family went bananas. They're just like, because I wasn't allowed to tell anyone
Yeah.
until it was released. And they were just like, why didn't you tell us? This is crazy. You're playing Dwayne. And by that stage, I was already kind of like focused in on the work. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's been incredible.
So what was that time frame like from finding out that you'd be in the show to when it was revealed, and officially that you'd be, playing him on the show?
It was painful. It was like
Painful?
walking around with a time bomb in my back pocket. It was because we had originally planned to shoot in Los Angeles, and then of
Mhm.
course COVID hit, which they were spent a lot of time looking for another location, and then thankfully we found Brisbane, Australia, which was incredibly safe.
Mhm.
But that didn't kick off until September, October.
Oh,
So it was all that waiting time, and then of course when Dwayne announced it, then the world knew.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was I had to lie a few times to family, but
Well, I guess in addition to that, what would you say the most challenging thing has been in filming this role? What was the most challenging part of that for you? I mean, obviously getting in shape for the Rock, you're already in great shape anyway. And I know you've done interviews with Men's Health talking about this and whatnot. But other than that, what was the most challenging part of the role for you?
well, the most challenging, there's obviously a lot in there, especially when Dwayne goes to college. There's a whole lot of upsets and kind of setbacks.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't say that's difficult, but there was definitely something that was, I guess, probably, it's actually interesting to play
Mhm.
uh, for me personally. But, the whole thing's been so enjoyable. Like, I know that's a cliche, but
No, yeah.
like we really have wonderful writers. Like incredible writers, Jeff and Nanachka Khan, Jeff Chang and Nanachka Khan, our showrunners and writers, have really crafted this thing so nicely. And directors, like it, I don't know if there's a challenge yet.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the wrestling aspect if we get there, and if I'm the dude to play it,
Yeah.
that might be a challenge to some degree.
Yeah. No, I could totally understand that. And I know you've talked before in other interviews about how you met Dwayne, but it was over Zoom, obviously due to the current, circumstances, pandemic, as you mentioned, and
Yeah.
what that experience was like. Dwayne Johnson, he's just one of the most beloved people out there, I think is safe to say. And you would know better than I would, having met him before over Zoom. What was that like expectation going into it? Because I know you've talked about like the butterflies that you felt in your stomach before you talked to him, if that's like the right verbiage to use. Did he meet your expectations? Was he exactly what you thought he would be like? What was that experience like?
Actually, I didn't have any expectations of him per se,
Okay.
but I mean, I was so nervous. Like, I had one part of my brain saying, listen, this is the dude. And then the other side was like, listen, you have work to do. So come prepared with some questions and stuff like that. But he was the most down to earth, present person that, for someone of his stature and how busy he is, obviously, he's just released Zoa, etc. He was just so present, and we were able to really talk. And I asked him personal questions, obviously related to the show, and he just was like a floodgate. So, I mean, he's as human as can be.
Yeah. And I know you've
Um,
mentioned before, or sorry, go ahead.
no, that's fine.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say, I know you've mentioned before how similar your backgrounds were growing up and whatnot, and how you can kind of relate to him in that respect, which made it, I'm sure, the role just a lot easier for you in doing it. And not only that, growing up, and I know when you did the audition, they had told you you look exactly like him from that period of his life. Did you ever
Right.
get compared to him growing up at all, saying, "Hey, you look a lot like The Rock," or was that really just kind of a new thing when you did the audition?
No, I've heard it maybe twice.
Oh, okay.
And not really, actually. It was probably only when I got into the acting circles that people went, oh, because I'm quite tall and of
Mhm.
Pacific Island heritage, and in Australia there aren't many of us in the acting circles. So that was probably like, oh, you like Dwayne Johnson. I thought maybe in the future I'd love to like play alongside him as
Mhm.
something, but now playing him, the actual dude, is like, it's pretty mind-boggling.
Something you can't even imagine. I mean, how many opportunities like this present itself, so it's
Yeah,
crazy. With that
exactly.
being said, what was your familiarity with Dwayne, whether it be in wrestling or in movies? Did you follow his career much at all? I mean, again, I know he's one of the biggest actors out there right now, but did you grow up a wrestling fan at all, or his career and in the movies and whatnot?
Yeah, wrestling. I started watching him probably when he turned heel, when he went bad.
Okay, okay.
Um,
During like what was
the
it? The
Attitude Era, I
corporation
think.
attitude era. Okay.
Yeah. That's when I was like, oh, this guy is cool.
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of so from that point, wrestling, and then obviously transitioning to when he went into movies
Mhm.
in the early stage, I was still pretty young, but I kind of went, oh, that's a really bold move, to
Yeah.
leave wrestling with so much love. People had so much love. He was the people's champ, like, and then making that transition at the time, I thought, man, this guy's got some stones. And then uh, here we are. He's one of the biggest blockbuster actors out there. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of been my following of his career so far.
How far does your wrestling fandom go back?
Uh, I grew up watching. My cousin used to watch like WWF.
Okay.
So my favorite childhood wrestler was like Ultimate Warrior,
Great pick.
um, Jimmy Fly Snuka, Andre the Giant was super cool, and then like Blue Blazer. I don't know if you remember Blue Blazer. Every
Yeah,
time
Owen
I
Hart. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
He was cool. Mr. Perfect, I found funny as hell.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that was kind of me. And like my cousin would put me in a figure four leg drop all the time, and like throw me against the couch. So I
Yeah.
kind of grew up with that. Yeah, so that's about as far back as I remember, at least.
I know they did a show in Australia. I want to say it was Global Warning, I think it was called, in 2002. And I think The Rock was on the show because they don't go to Australia very often. Do you have any familiarity with that event at all?
I don't remember. I mean, I would have. Oh, actually, I do remember him coming out here, but I don't remember. Like it might have been for that.
Okay. Yeah, it may
Doesn't
have
it?
been for like a like a press thing. I don't know. I'm not sure, but
Uh,
yeah, it was in like late 2002 because I know they don't do too many shows out there. So if that
yeah.
was like, I don't know if you were at that show. It was a random question. Um,
No, no.
but yeah, I know you mentioned before doing the people's eyebrow. If you're growing up a fan of him and him turning heel or whatever, was that something you were practicing even 20 years ago before you know that you
Oh,
would get this role?
dude. Everyone in my circle was doing the people's eyebrow. And
Yeah.
the thing was, when we did a photo shoot, and I kind of got it on lock. Like this was
Yep.
the one, and then it would turn out to be the other eyebrow. So I went back and and like drilled this thing. Um, so yeah, yeah. I mean, everyone was doing the people's eyebrow.
Yeah. So you had plenty of experience when it came down to do it on the show.
Yeah, but then like I said, it was the other eyebrow, so I had to make sure that
Good.
I was like, okay, is this the right one? And yeah,
Yeah. Final two questions for you, Uli. Do you have a favorite rock movie by any chance that you would watch? And it's like, oh, maybe I know obviously this has more to do with his childhood, but do you have a favorite rock movie by any chance?
yeah. I've said this a few times. Walking Tall is probably my favorite.
Classic.
He comes in like a boss and just cleans up. Um, it's got his old man's in there. It's
Yeah.
it's all that kind of thing. So Walking Tall is my favorite.
And that really launched off his acting career too, because that was right around the time that he was still wrestling. So it was kind of right after
Right.
that. Final question for you, Uli. What more can fans look forward to in this show? I mean, obviously, we got a couple more episodes with you left in it in season one. We're 3 episodes in now. What more can fans look forward to, as well as
Um,
yourself being involved?
I mean, just more fun, dude. Like there's just so many more stories that
Mhm.
Dwayne has, and I think the danger with that is actually people walking away and going, not really knowing whether that actually happened. Like that waffle story really did happen.
Did it
That's
really?
it's like, dude, that's a wild story. Like,
Yeah.
at so many, there's so much more to come. It's such a fun show, and obviously there's a whole bunch of family stuff, which is really beautiful, and it just feels like a well-rounded show to me.
Yeah, no, it's been such a great show and really appealing for all audiences too. Kids, all longtime wrestling fans such as myself who have, grown up watching The Rock and just people who like good family stories. So
Yeah.
it's a really cool show. People could check it out Tuesday nights on NBC featuring yourself. Dwayne Randall Park is on the show too. It's a great cast and crew. People could check it out on Tuesdays. Uli, thank you so much for the time, man. I really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
brother. No problem.